the Mac truck, door panel, and bandage you MCs.
I know nothing about how this record came to be. It was so big at the time because I'm sure most people here remember like how big the buzz for Biggie was at the time, like post-party and bullshit. How much everyone was awaiting this guy, and Juicy, I'm an underground dude. I fucking Juicy. It was a good record,
No doubt.
But Unbelievable was, set it off. So tell us. What happened? Like, did you record with Biggie?
Yeah.
Just let me hear about this.
I got a call from Big. At the time, I lived in Brooklyn. I moved from Brooklyn to the Bronx to 183rd. This Guru had a girlfriend up there that had sublet an apartment. She was doing some work in California, so that's how I ended up meeting Panchi and all of the members of NYG. That's how I met Smiley, Malachi the Nutcracker. That's how I met all of them. Cause I lived on that block on 183rd and Andrews Avenue. So, we had just gotten our deal for stepping the arena. Me and Guru got our new cars. Blew all our money. Went back to Brooklyn because I hooked up with Branford Marsalis to do the record jazz thing for the Mo Better Blues soundtrack. Branford had just gotten the gig to be the music director for Jay Leno. So he was about to sell his crib, so he was selling it to us. But before he left, I was living with him, his wife, his son, and me and Guru. We come home drunk in the middle of the night, making noise, pissing them off and stuff, and they'd be like, "Yo, shut the fuck up," because whenever it happened always be a night when Branford was fighting with his wife, so he was sleeping on the couch, she's sleeping upstairs, and we come drunk, and we're making noise, checking the answering machine, because he was like, "Yo, you can use our phone, and we'll share the answering machine," so we're checking our messages to see who called us, and he was like, "Yo, turn that shit off, I'm trying to sleep." I'm like, "What are you doing out here?" I'm fighting with my wife, I don't even, you know what, fuck it, I'm going back upstairs. He'll go back upstairs, we start checking the messages again, At that time, we used to always go, we lived on Washington Avenue between Lafayette and Green, and we used to always go to the corner on Fulton and Washington, and Biggie would always be there every day. All of them, Junior Mafia, everybody. We'd all hang and just smoke blunts and just drink 40s every day. Big Suge would be with us, and I remember we told Big Suge, like, "Yo, you gotta come here, this dude Biggie rhyme. Like, he's ill," and he met him and he would rhyme. And I always had this army suit, a green army suit on all the time.
Smoking blunts on Fulton with Biggie.
You could do that. You could do that back then. Yeah, you could roll right in front of a cop. Well, I was gonna say Jake, but cop. And you get away with it now. You just even see with a cigar, they're like, "Hey, come over here," But
so you knew it literally from the block, though, from him rhyming on the block.
Yeah, because we used to go to the same weed spot. So it was literally right across from where they post up. So we'd go there, go in a little grocery store, boom, come out with a nice tray bag.
So he calls you and just says,
what happened was we got real cool.
We used to hang out with Biggie. Chubb Rock lived by us. Lady of Rage lived over by us with Nikki D. They used to tote Glocks every day with Def Jam jackets on and stuff. I'd be like, "I'm gonna rob you for your jacket." They'd be like, "No, you're not." And they put out the
Chrome 4.5.
Like Rage, Nikki, and Nikki's sister T. We used to call her Terrible T. Like, we had some fun back then, man. Like, for real. Mixing Ice from UTFO. Like, we used to all hang. Easy Mo B. We'd all just be at our place just getting full. You know what I'm saying? And Cypress Hill came over right before they did the Killer Man video, and they didn't have a place to crash. We don't crash with us. Like, we got crazy memories, but we always hung out with Biggie. I remember one day Guru got arrested for it was somebody had done a fraud on his credit card, but they thought he was the fraud and took him to jail. And Biggie never knew how to drive. He always had cars when he blew up, but everybody drove for him. And Guru was like, "Yo, Biggie, take my car." Guru had a nice Jaguar back then, and he was like, "Yo, take my car." And Biggie's like, "All right, I'll take it. Leave me the keys, and we're gonna try to get you bailed out. And we'll call Premier." And I'm on my way down to the block to meet Big, and Big is just sitting in the driver's seat, just sitting there.
And I'm like, "I'm gonna try to go bail him out." He goes, "I don't know how to drive." So he's like, "I ain't got no car, so I want to look fly in the car." So I'm sitting there. Because the cops was like, "If one of y'all gonna drive,
We'll leave the car." And Biggie just sat there just so he could look fly.
how did...
So this is what happened. At that time, I
I was making a nice amount of money for production, okay? Let me just put it like this way. Anything under 10 grand, I was not doing the job, okay? Biggie called me in a frantic panic on the phone and was like, yo, I got one more song I need for my album and I'm done. I gotta get a song for you. And I said, yo, I don't have time really to do it, Big. And he's like, come on, man, all I got is $5,000. And I was like, come on, Big, I don't do it for no 5 G's. And he's like, please, please. He said, I don't care if you just take M-Piece of President and play some silly little notes on a beat. I was like, you serious? He said, yeah, please. I said, all right, meet me at D&D. He came to D&D. I didn't really like the beat that much. I like no. It was the little notes were kind of happy, and Big had played me his whole album, and it was hard, you know. Things Done Changed, and you know, the What with Meth, and the original Come On Motherfuckers with Sadat X, and the Lord Finesse version. And Puffy didn't like it. I remember Finesse was like, you don't know shit about hip hop. Finesse is a wise guy. Lord Finesse was screaming at Puff. I mean, it was funny, you know. But Puff being a businessman is like, hey, it's not making the album, you know. So, and it didn't make the album, but still, at the end of the day, I told Big to come up, and I was playing those little stabs, and I just thought it was just a little too nice for the way his voice sounded. And he walked in and just sat there. He likes to sit across from you and stare at you and watch you do your thing. And he was like, yo, kind of make him just juggle around and do something, you know, like, he said, I see what you're saying, like it's a little soft, but kind of juggle him around. So that's when I started going dun 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 and doing all that. And he was like, yeah, like that. Now do some more of that. Like flip it around. So that's when I started going crazy. And he was like, yo, just like that, I'm ready. And he just walked in the booth and laid it. No paper, no nothing.
Now the weirdest thing about that record is I think most people think of it as such a hard record, and you already thought it was happy, but then you added an R. Kelly sample to it, and yet it still ended up being even harder. Well, how did that come to be? Well,
prior to R. Kelly's
campaign.
Prior to his campaign, I was an R. Kelly fan, and I loved all his records, 12 Play, you know, all that stuff. I didn't like Vibe and all that. That was a little corny, but you start going 12 Play and all that stuff, and Your Body's Calling was just ill. And I used to love that record. And Big called me the day before I mixed it and said, yo, try Unbelievable from R. Kelly. And I was like, it might be out of key. He said, you can make it work. He said, a lot of Jay-Z says this too, do the Primo thing. That's what they always say, just do the Primo thing. And I'm like, all right. So Big said the same thing, just do the Primo thing, you can make it work. So I brought the record the next day and flew it in, and it just happened to really match the breakdown. I was like, damn, it does work. And then I went to Hit Factory to make sure that they mastered it right, and they made an acetate. I don't know if y'all, like a dub plate.
Yeah.
You know, before it's a record, it's a real thick record. You can't really scratch it. It's really the test to make sure that you like it before they press a whole bunch of copies and waste your time. So, but they have 2 acetates. They gave one to me and they gave one to Flex. Now I didn't know they gave it to Flex. Me and Gordon are going somewhere in Brooklyn. Maybe we're going back to my crib, but we're riding, and this is like not even 2 days after we just finished it, and there's somebody playing it real loud in the car, and I said, yo, man, I'm not trying to catch him, but you know how there's another car in front of you, you can't really get up to him, and you're still just trying to catch up to this person before they run the light. We finally get up to the light, and the guy stops, and I get right up on him. I say, yo, where you get that from? Because Big used to give his album and the music out to everybody. He's like, I don't care, I want everybody that got love for me to have my album before it's in the stores. He's like, I want them to memorize it so that they know it before when we do shows, we can all sing it together. Like Big was always about his whole crew coming up with him. You know what I'm saying? Like even when he got arrested before he passed, and he was like, yo, they gonna do the time for me. When they come home, I'm buying them all Benzes, and we're gonna move to Atlanta, and we're gonna just all have a nice house and live happily ever after. Like that was the last thing I remember he said to me before he passed.
How close was that to when he passed away?
Less than a month. Yeah, and I was even in the studio when they were talking about going to LA, and he said he didn't want to go. He was like begging, like like a child. Like he was like, I don't want to go, like that. And we were sitting there looking at him like, yo, don't go, man, don't go. You like, you need to stay here, but he went.
This is when you were finishing Life After Death. You were finishing Kicking the Door.
This is when they were doing Brooklyn's Finest on Jay-Z's album. And you know, because him and Jay got really tight. They went to school together anyway. My manager Fat Gary went to school with Jay and everything, and Buster, and you know, they were finishing up that, but the drama had already set in with Big and Pop, and but you know, they were just discussing when he starts to promote his album, he's got to go out there. But I remember him just like really, you know, like when you tell a kid, you know, you're going to school today, and they're like, I don't want to go, and they would kind of say it like that. I'll never forget that. Me and my engineer Dexter would watch him, like, you know, pretty much say he didn't want to go and do that. You know, that was the one place he didn't want to go.
It's crazy, and that's exactly the same stories that you hear about Tupac's trip to Las Vegas. Is that he said the exact same thing to Quincy Jones' daughter, which like he was dating at the time. He's like, I'm not going to Las Vegas. I don't want to go to Las Vegas.